is the Savage Nation. The question today is, who broke the economy's back? Who is to blame? Who do you blame for having broken the economy's back? The phone number today in the Savage Nation is 1-800-449-8255. Topic number one, who broke the economy's back? We're going to have an interview with an economist. We're going to have an interview with my attorney about the biggest anti-terrorism verdict in American history. Came down less than an hour ago. The Holy Land Foundation guilty on 80 counts. Who's to blame for the economic meltdown, though, is the real problem today for most Americans. I woke up and my jaw dropped when I read that Bush and his cronies, including the Obama maniacs, are going to spend over $7 trillion to bail out their friends on Wall Street and in other institutions, all of whom are their friends. I don't think you understand what's going on, but you're witnessing the greatest theft in the history of the world. There has never been a greater theft in the history of the world, but I'll put it in another context from my point of view. And again, this is one man's opinion. It is only one man's opinion. Throw it out the window. Make yourself believe I don't know anything. Go ahead. Go listen to your newspaper counselors. Go listen to your television counselors. Go ask people who don't know they're behind from their elbow what they think. But discount what I have to say. I'm always wrong. But here's what I have to say. Bush is going to permit China to buy this country out, which he has already done. I believe that if you look at this from the point of view of buying bad debt and limited and leveraged buyouts, China has done a leveraged buyout of the United States of America. This, you're witnessing not only the greatest theft in history, but an LBO of the United States of America under the guise of, you know what, under the guise of fiscal conservatism. George Bush, fiscal conservative? I was on to this guy years ago. I was the first guy who smelled a rat over a year ago, and I said, wait a minute now. Something's wrong with this picture. He's grown the government more than the last 5 administrations together. He's run a war for 8 years that won't, 5 years or 6 years won't end. The contracting is corrupt. He's expanding one government bureaucracy after another. So I said he is a fiscal socialist. I said that a year ago. But sadly, I must report to you, dear listener of the Savage Nation, that not 6 months ago, I said to you that if you think Bush has done damage already, you are right. But you've seen nothing yet. He has several months to go. And I will say that again. If you think Bush has already done all the damage he's going to do, you're mistaken. He's not finished yet. He's got a couple of months to go. He's got all of December, and he's got 3 weeks in January. And if you think he's through screwing you, you're wrong. Now let's turn to Obama. Today he waltzes out. It looked like he was coming out to a nightclub performance. I actually was shocked. I was shocked to watch him come out looking like a combination Elvis Presley and a nightclub performer. What was the swivelly hips? I never saw the swivelly hips before. He came out like, and now, direct from Chicago, it's Barack Obama. And he walked out on the stage with that pompous look like he was going to save the world. But did he say anything today? Instead, he introduced all of the old hacks from the Clinton administration. And you morons, you idiots, you useful idiots there who thought that you were getting something new, you know what you got? You got exactly what you deserved. He's a doorman for the Clinton administration. Now let's look at this for a minute. Let's look at it really closely. What am I referring to? Who are the people I'm talking about? Let's start with Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary, Robert Rubin. Old Bob Rubin. Old Bobby Rubin, the fly fisherman. Old Bobby Rubin is running Citibank. Old Bobby Rubin just bailed out Citibank. Citibank is going to be bailed out until it needs more money. And what do you think it's going to lead to? It's going to lead to a demand for more money. I have a question for you. How is it that in all of this talk, not one of the empty skirts in the media has said one word to Bush, one word to Obama, either yesterday or today, asking why the CEOs of these companies have not yet paid back 1 cent, asking why they have not been forced to turn over their trains, their planes, their cars, their Greenwich mansions, their Park Avenue apartments, their Florida houses. Why have they not been forced to pay a penny? The answer is because the government and they are one. The government is run by Wall Street. The government is Wall Street. And that is why we are in trouble. I woke up this morning and when I read that there was a $7 trillion bailout, I said to myself, that's unsupportable. It means our dollar has become less valuable. It means that Bush is debasing the value of the dollar. I have images of the wheelbarrows of Deutschmarks being brought to a bakery in the 1920s to buy a loaf of bread. I had terrible visions of an inflation that was out of control that led to the rise of Adolf Hitler. I have nightmares every day about what George Bush and now Obama, because they're one and the same, they're two heads to one coin, are doing to you, the average person. And now let's turn this over to you. Let's turn this over to you. What can you do about it? The answer is nothing. What can I do about it? The answer is nothing. Our votes have been stolen by both parties. Two gangs. Remember what I told you when I started in radio? When I was a little boy in the streets of New York and my father, an immigrant, although not educated but wise, said to me, Michael, here's the way the system works. You've got two bands of crooks. One band of crooks is called the Democrats. The other band of crooks is called Republicans. He said, when one band of crooks wins, the other band stands on the outside screaming, look what they're doing, look what they're doing, look what they're doing. Then when the other band comes in, the other guy goes to the outside and screams, look what they're doing, look what they're doing, look what they're doing. And then he chuckled as he held my hand and he said, but you know what? In a strange way, the system works. Well, guess what, Dad? You've been in heaven a long time. The system doesn't work. We now have the most brazen crooks in the history of the world, and the little people are going to suffer in a way they can't even imagine. Here we are. Weimar is just around the corner. Weimar is just around the corner. The wheelbarrow and the barrel of money to buy a loaf of bread. I mean, it's a nightmare scenario, I admit it. And, of course, you may say, well, it could never happen here. Why can't it happen here? Why can't it happen here when you got a government that has borrowed trillions of dollars and now wants to borrow trillions more to bail out the vermin on Wall Street, the vermin with suspenders from Yale, the vermin with suspenders from Harvard? Why can't it happen here? When they're unwilling to tighten their belt, cut government, cut spending, indict and arrest the CEOs who did this to us, why can't it happen here? We keep asking ourselves. And the answer is, of course, it can happen here. And that's why we are all worried. We, the people, are in a panic right now. And if you're not in a panic, you're probably a fool. If you're not wondering what you should do with your hard-earned savings, if you're not wondering with some concern about whether or not you're going to have a job or a business a year from now, then you probably work for the U.S. government.